AI is being integrated into every aspect of our working lives as content marketers, and especially with content creation and repurposing. It can be great, but there are risks when you take it too far and you end up stripping out the human side and sounding like a robot. So how do you utilise AI to improve your systems and processes while still producing human-led, high-quality content? Let's find out. You're listening to the Content 10x podcast, where it's all about content repurposing. I'm Amy Woods, and I'm here to help you maximise your content and find smart ways to get your message in front of more of the right people, whilst also saving time. Let's get started. Hello and welcome to the Content 10x podcast. I'm your host, Amy Woods, and thank you very much for tuning into this episode. Whether it's your first episode, in which case welcome, it's great to have you here. And if you're a returning listener, then welcome back. I really appreciate you. In this week's episode, we're returning to the topic of AI and content creation. This is off the back of the previous episode that I recorded with a good friend of mine and generative AI expert Ian Anderson Gray. Now, if you haven't heard it yet, then you can find it at content10x.com/314. It's a fantastic conversation. The episode is called How to Use AI While Still Sounding Human. Now, whilst Ian shared his thoughts and tips on using AI for content creation, we spoke about how to use it effectively and when not to use it. But as you can obviously tell from the episode title, we ended up talking a lot about keeping and sounding human when using AI. From the annoying and sometimes amusing AI tells that you can always spot in copy these days, to seeing people with 6 fingers in videos. So I decided to take the topic further and record a solo episode where I run through 10 tips on how to keep your content sounding human in this AI world. I'll cover the types of written content that AI should and shouldn't be used for, the human elements that AI cannot replicate, and tips on how to use AI for reviewing and editing your work, and lots more. However, before I get to the main content, just to mention, if you want content repurposing tips and guidance, industry updates, inspiring stories, and exclusive news delivered straight to your inbox, that's every other week, so just every 2 weeks, then join thousands of marketers, business owners and creators and become a Content 10x insider. Head to content10x.com/newsletter. Okay, back to the topic. As I was saying, how can you keep your content sounding human when you are leaning on AI tools to help speed up your outputs? Let's take a look. First up, if you are using generative AI tools to help you with creating written content, then be really clear on what types of content you use AI for and those that you don't. For example, there's content that at Content 10x we tend to call the functional or the commodity content. So that's content like your YouTube video summary or a set of podcast show notes or a meta description. It's informative content, often it's summaries. It's fairly undifferentiated, and AI is great for writing this content, especially if you created the first piece of content and it's summarising what you have already created. On the other hand, there's thought leadership content. This often has a strong, well thought through point of view. It can evoke emotion. People will agree or disagree with it. It can even create tension, and it usually is based on knowledge and beliefs. Sometimes it's heavily nuanced. Please don't get AI to write this content. So this can be blog posts and papers, social media posts that share insights, stories, and more on stories to come soon. You want to stay human with this content by creating it by a human. So that's number one, the types of written content that you will or won't use AI for. Number two, so the types of content that you do get help from AI to write, so that functional commodity summary style content. When you do that, you must make sure that you conduct a human edit. Now, in the same way that you wouldn't expect a member of your team or a freelance writer to just get it right the first time without a thorough review, well, you really need to do a thorough review of AI written content. Number 3, now this goes for content that you get AI to write for you, like a video description or blog summary, but also very much for the content that you write yourself from scratch, like the thought leadership content that I was just mentioning. You can get AI tools to do a copy review. They will be great for picking out grammar and punctuation issues, but they can also help with reviewing tone and structure and all of that too. So my big tip here is do not let AI change anything that you wrote. You ask the AI tool to review what you wrote and you give it a really good prompt as to where you want it to pick out improvements. For example, you might say, how can I make the tone a bit more conversational, or how can I create more urgency in the opening? But you say, please make suggestions and tell me why. Because if you start just letting AI make the changes for you, before you know it, it's going to sound like it's been written by AI. So get it involved in the copy review, but ask it to make suggestions. Number 4, so the quality of what you get out will correlate with the quality of what you put in. So when you use AI to help you create content, create really specific briefs in the same way that you wouldn't just tell a content creator, write me an article about investment management, without actually telling them a lot more. So you'd be telling them who they are writing on behalf of, what the tone is, who the audience is and why, and how long it should be, etc. You still need a really good, if not better, brief for AI. AI won't say, hold on, can you give me loads more information? It'll just get going with writing the content, but it'll create something really fast and not particularly good. Number 5, with your prompts for written content, have a whole list written out of the obvious AI sounding words that you want the Gen AI to stay clear of. So you want to say, please don't use elevate or unleash or delve, tapestry, in the dynamic world, all those AI generated terms we are so familiar with. AI generated content tends to overuse certain adjectives and adverbs. It has an unusual or overly complex sentence structure. It can be repetitive in the use of specific vocabulary, and there's always a lack of depth in analysis and usually very dramatic and flowery language. So you have to work with it to get away from all of this, or you'll sound like a robot. So really clear guidance on style and tone, and go as far as to just tell it the stay clear of words as well. Number 6, AI generated content also has a lack of personal experience or emotion. For obvious reasons, because it's not a person, so it doesn't have personal experience or emotion. So to sound more like a human in our content, let's make sure we emphasise storytelling. I know we've all heard this before, but it's more crucial than ever. AI can churn out facts and figures that you'll always need to double check, but it can't share a story that paints a picture or tugs at the heartstrings like humans can. So focus on weaving compelling stories. It's a uniquely human trait that we must make sure that we keep to. We have a podcast episode coming up soon with Mike Alton, who is the chief storyteller at Agora Pulse, and he's going to be talking about AI in storytelling. So you'll want to check that out. Number 7, similar to 6, but remembering to incorporate human touchpoints and experiences. So things like personal anecdotes and interviews, testimonials, these are the elements that add that special human touch that AI just can't replicate. And within the human touch points, be sure to focus on empathy. It's so important that we tailor our content to address the specific needs and concerns of our audience. Empathetic content demonstrates understanding and care, which I really don't think AI can alone provide. Then number 8, engage with your audience. Ian Anderson Gray discussed in his podcast episode with me about how he thinks there will be more people doing live streams like LinkedIn Lives and Instagram Lives and live webinars. This is because you can engage with your audience in real time and they can engage with you. So live content ticks so many boxes: transparency, authenticity, engagement with each other. There doesn't really get much more human than this, does there really? So think of ways that you can create content that allows you to engage. It doesn't necessarily have to be doing live streams, but the ways that you can engage with your audience. Number 9, find ways for AI to assist you with routine tasks. So we've talked a lot about AI in content creation, specifically more the writing side. But look at how you can automate repetitive jobs like scheduling and distribution of content, data analysis, reporting, so you can free up time for creative and strategic thinking. AI can help you with anything that doesn't really require too much creativity, so that you can be even more creative and even more authentic and more human with the content that you spend time creating. So think of AI in this case as your handy assistant. This is where we blend AI and human creativity. If you can really nail combining the strengths of AI with human intuition and insight, you can end up with really innovative and engaging content in less time. And then 10, and sorry, this is a bit of a catch-all, but stay updated on AI developments. The whole landscape of AI is changing faster than my coffee gets cold in the morning, which is pretty fast. So keep yourself in the loop so you can use AI to enhance your work, not replace it, but enhance it. So look for the ways that you can get assistance with the content that doesn't require as much creativity as I just mentioned, so that you can focus on creating content that is by humans, for humans, when it needs to be. So there you have it, 10 tips for keeping human in the age of AI. Have I missed anything? I'm sure I have, because there's more I have to say on this, but we are running out of time for this episode. So I'll talk more on this topic in future episodes. But do connect with me on LinkedIn. Let me know what you think. I would love to chat over there. Now, as always, this episode comes to you from Content 10x. We are the world's leading content repurposing agency. Our expert team transform B2B content into multiple formats and distribute it across various platforms. We help you maximize the reach and impact of your content, whether that's white papers, reports, events, blog posts, podcasts, videos, you name it. We can create an array of high quality, engaging assets that is suitable for your audience, taking into account your content strategy and your goals. So trust the Content 10x team to enhance your content and ensure that your message is seen and heard by the right audience. If you would like to find out more about this, about our content creation, content strategy and content repurposing, then head to content10x.com or just get in touch by emailing info@content10x.com. Okay, so that's a wrap for this episode. Thank you so much for joining. All that's left to say is thanks for listening, and I'll catch you in the next one.